Hi Year 9, it's Mrs Woolard here again. Today I am going to talk you through the work that you've already done in terms of crime and punishment and where you need to be heading for this week. Okay, so if you want to have a look at the screen, you can see the title of the course that you have started, Crime and Punishment in Britain Through Time. And if you look at the dates, you can see that we have an awful lot of history to get through on this particular course. Now, the course is split into 4 separate areas because it's so huge, and you can see them in bold on the screen here. The first one we'll look at is the Middle Ages, then we'll move to the early modern period, then the late modern period, and we'll finish off going from 1900 right through to today to modern crimes and modern punishments. We also stop and we do a case study on Whitechapel and Jack the Ripper, and that will come in later in the course. So at the moment you're looking at the first part of that course, so you're looking at 1000 to 1500, and last week you focused on the first group in that time period, which are the Anglo Saxons. On here you can see the 4 areas you have to cover for each of the periods. So for each time period you look at, you need to know what crimes those people committed, the punishments they received for those crimes, how they caught them, the law enforcement, and finally what happened when they were put on trial, how were they put on trial, who put them on trial. Now, I've also highlighted on there to show that last week you considered the Anglo Saxons law enforcement. So that's highlighted in yellow to show that's the part of this course that you've done so far. Now, if we look in a bit more detail, there are 2 key words there on Anglo-Saxon law enforcement that you should now be happy that you understand. So the first one is tithings, and a tithing is a group of 10 men in an Anglo-Saxon village, and by man I mean 12 and above, and they were responsible for each other's behaviour. And if one of those men misbehaved, the others were responsible for bringing them into trial. The other bit, which is one of my favourites, is called the hue and cry. And that's where if somebody was a victim of a crime, they shout out the words hue and cry, and everybody around them has to stop what they're doing, drop everything, and literally run after that criminal and catch them. If they failed, then it was responsibility of the shire reeve or the sheriff. You'll remember from our Anglo-Saxons study earlier. He could get everybody in the village to stop and continue and run after that criminal to catch them. Okay, so hopefully you've got good understanding of that from last week. Now we need to move on then from there to what you're going to study this week. You're still on the Anglo-Saxons, but you can see from there we're now going to move on to 2 further aspects of crime and punishment. First of all, you're going to look at the kinds of crimes that were committed by the Anglo-Saxons, and by the end of this week you'll know lots of different crimes. And secondly, you're going to have a look at how the Anglo-Saxons were punished for the crimes that they committed. So good luck, and I will see you in a week.